I'm 34-year-old woman working as a municipal policy coordinator. Decent salary, climate-controlled office, flexibility to work from home twice a week, spend my evenings at community organizing meetings, weekends at rallies. My thing is labor equity and dismantling patriarchal economic structures. Been saying for years that male-dominated industries are gate-kept and overcompensated. Construction workers making 35 bucks an hour to hold a stop sign. Meanwhile, teachers and social workers scrape by on nothing. The system props up masculine labor as inherently more valuable. It's all arbitrary, designed to maintain male economic dominance. Everyone nods when I talk about this at meetings. I've written 3 op-eds about it for local papers. The statistics don't lie. Wage gap exists because we devalue care work and overvalue brute force. Men designed the economy to reward themselves. Simple as that. One night at a city council meeting about infrastructure spending, they're allocating millions for road work, bridge repairs. I give my usual speech about misallocated resources. Mention how these jobs are overpaid relative to their actual difficulty. Afterwards, some guy approaches me. Mid-40s, weathered face, concrete dust still on his boots. He's polite, but there's this look in his eyes. You really think it's easy work? I explain. And I'm not saying it's easy, just that it's overvalued relative to other labor. He nods slowly. My company's short-staffed. We're working on the Henderson Bridge repair. You should come see what the work is actually like. I feel this little spike of something. Opportunity, maybe vindication. I do more than see it. I do it. The words come out before I fully think them through. He raises his eyebrows. It's hard work, real hard. Now I'm committed because backing down proves his point. 1 month I'll work for 1 month, same conditions as everyone else. He looks at me for a long moment. All right, you're serious. We start Monday, 5:30 a.m. Spend the weekend feeling weirdly nervous. Tell myself it's just physical labor. Humans have been doing it forever. Buy work boots and canvas pants from the hardware store. They feel stiff and uncomfortable in the dressing room. Whatever. I'll break them in. Set my alarm for 4:45 a.m. I usually wake up at 7:30. This is fine. Plenty of people work early shifts. It's just conditioning. Nothing inherently harder about it. Monday morning, my alarm goes off and it's still completely dark outside. Drag myself out of bed. Everything in my body wants to keep sleeping. Choke down coffee and oatmeal. Drive to the work site as the sky starts turning gray. There's already a bunch of trucks there. Men standing around drinking coffee from thermoses, breath visible in the cold. It's April, but it's cold at 5:30 in the morning. The guy from the meeting, find out his name is Ray. He's the foreman. Introduces me to the crew. About 15 guys, ages ranging from early 20s to late 50s. They're polite enough. A few nods. Can feel them watching me, though. Ray assigns me to work with a guy named Tommy. He's maybe 25, doesn't say much, hands me a shovel. We're clearing debris from the base of the bridge support, mostly broken concrete and rebar. The first hour isn't too bad. It's just scooping and lifting, tossing chunks into a wheelbarrow. My arms start burning around hour 2. The concrete pieces are heavier than they look. Some of the rebar is twisted and catches on everything. I have to wear thick gloves because the metal edges are sharp. The gloves make it hard to grip. My hands are already getting sore. By 9 a.m., I'm sweating despite the cold. My lower back has this deep ache. We get a 15-minute break. Sit on the tailgate of a truck. The men don't talk much. Just drink water and stare at nothing. One guy eats a sandwich even though it's 9 in the morning. Notice my hands are shaking slightly. Back to it. Tommy shows me how to use a jackhammer to break up a section of old concrete. The thing weighs at least 60 pounds. When I trigger it, the vibration goes through my entire body. My teeth are chattering from it. My shoulders feel like they're going to separate from my torso. Can only run it for maybe 90 seconds before I have to stop. Tommy takes over without comment. He runs it for 10 minutes straight. I feel this little flash of something. Not quite shame, but close to it. Try again. Manage 3 minutes this time. My hands are numb and my upper back is screaming. Lunch break at noon. 7 hours down. 1 to go. Wait, no. We work until 4:30. That's 11 hours. My brain isn't doing math right because I'm already exhausted. Sit in my car and eat the sandwich I packed. My hands can barely open the Tupperware. See the men sitting in their trucks or on equipment? Same blank, tired stares. Nobody's on their phone. Nobody's chatting, just eating and resting. Afternoon is worse than morning. We're moving gravel now. Endless shovelfuls of gravel from a pile into wheelbarrows, then pushing the wheelbarrows up a slight incline to spread it. The wheelbarrow is hell. It's heavy, and the weight is distributed weird. My wrists bend at painful angles, trying to keep it steady. The wooden handles dig into my palms, even through gloves. I can do maybe 3 loads before I need to stop and catch my breath. The men just keep going in this steady rhythm. Nobody's rushing, but nobody's stopping either. Just this constant movement. Shovel, fill, push, dump, return, repeat. 4:30 finally comes. My whole body is throbbing. Drive home in a daysaze. Nearly fall asleep at a red light. Get home and just lie on the floor. Too tired to even make it to the couch. My roommate asks how it went. Can barely form words to answer. Eventually get up and take a shower. The hot water feels like heaven and torture at the same time. My shoulders and back are bright red with strain. Hands are covered in small cuts and scrapes. I didn't notice getting eat leftover pasta. Standing at the counter in bed by 7:45 p.m., asleep before 8. Alarm at 4:45 feels like violence. My body is so stiff I can barely sit up. My hands have blisters on the palms. Shoulders are locked up. Going down the stairs, my quads are shaking. This is day 2 of 22. The math sits in my brain like a weight. 22 more days of this. The week continues in a blur of pain and exhaustion. Every day, the same routine. Dark morning, cold air, physical labor that seems designed to destroy the human body. Different tasks each day. Hauling rebar, mixing concrete, operating machinery that vibrates your organs. The concrete mixer is 90-pound empty. We're adding bags of mix that are 80-pound each. I can barely lift one bag, have to kind of roll it and hip check it up to the mixer opening. The men just hoist them up. Not easily. You can see it's hard for them too, but they can do it. Over and over. Their bodies are adapted to this in ways mine isn't. By Friday, I've stopped thinking about anything except getting through each day. No mental energy for anything else. The organizing meeting I usually attend on Thursday. Completely forgot about it until I got a text asking where I was. I was unconscious in bed at 7 p.m. My whole world has narrowed to this. Wake up, work, hurt, sleep. The weekend comes and I sleep 14 hours straight. Wake up Saturday afternoon. My body is a map of pain. New blisters on top of old blisters. Bruises on my legs from kneeling on concrete. A cut on my forearm from a sharp edge of metal I didn't see. My lower back feels like something is fundamentally wrong with it. Just lie on my heating pad and stare at the wall. Sunday, I force myself to do laundry and meal prep. My regular life feels distant and strange. I used to have opinions about things, interests. I used to feel mentally sharp. Now I'm just tired. Tired in a way that sleep doesn't fully fix. Dread sits in my stomach thinking about Monday. Week 2 starts. My body has adapted slightly. The initial shock of muscle damage has passed into a constant dull ache. I can lift more than I could the first week. Still nowhere near what the men can do. We're working on actual bridge repair now. That means being up on scaffolding. I'm not particularly afraid of heights, but this is different. The scaffolding sways slightly. We're 40 feet up. The wind is stronger up here. My legs are shaking from muscle fatigue, and that makes balance harder. Trying to maneuver a piece of rebar while maintaining 3 points of contact with the scaffolding. My arms aren't strong enough. Tommy has to help me. He doesn't say anything, but I feel useless. The men don't talk to me much. Not in a hostile way, they just don't talk much in general. The radio plays sometimes. Mostly there's just the sounds of work, metal on metal, engines, wind. I'm used to my office where there's constant chatter, meetings, phone calls, collaboration. This is different. Everyone's alone together, doing their own task. The isolation of it is unexpected. I'm surrounded by people, but completely alone in my own physical struggle. Ray rotates me through different tasks. I realize later he's probably being kind, giving me variety so I'm not destroyed by repetition. One day I'm on the ground, crew managing materials. Another day I'm up on the bridge. A full day of painting steel beams with anti-rust coating. The paint fumes give me a headache that lasts into the next day. The respirator mask is hot and uncomfortable. My face breaks out from the rubber seal. The brush gets heavy after the 100th stroke. My forearm burns. Still have to keep the coating even. Can't rush it or it doesn't work right. Detail-oriented work, but with physical demands. The combination is exhausting in a unique way. Week 3, and I'm starting to notice things I didn't see before. The small injuries that accumulate. Everyone has cuts and bruises. One guy has a thumbnail that's completely black from a smashed finger. Another has a scar across his forearm from a grinding accident years ago. They talk about past injuries the way office workers talk about bad meetings. Remember when Carlos broke his collarbone on the Route 9 project? Yeah, that was a bad fall. Hinted. Discussed casually like it's just part of the deal. The danger is constant. You can't switch off. One mistake with the equipment and you lose a finger or worse. Ray is always watching, always enforcing safety protocols. I understand now it's not him being uptight. It's that he's seen what happens when people get careless or tired. And everyone's always tired. My body has changed in 3 weeks. I've lost weight despite eating more. My arms have definition I've never had. My hands are calloused and rough. I look harder, but I also look exhausted. My face is drawn. I'm getting wrinkles I didn't have a month ago. The sun exposure, even with sunscreen. The constant muscle tension. The stress of the danger. It ages you. The weather has been relatively mild, but one day it rains. We still work. The rain makes everything heavier and more slippery. My boots squelch in mud. The tools are slippery, even with gloves. Water runs down the back of my neck. By noon, I'm soaked through, shivering and miserable. We don't stop. The bridge repair has a deadline. The contract has penalty clauses, so we work in the rain. My fingers are numb. Dropping things because I can't feel my grip properly. This is April rain, not even winter. I think about these men working through January and February. Ice and snow and wind. Nobody stops the work for comfort. Week 4. The final week. My brain keeps telling me I'm almost done. The men aren't almost done. This is just their life. Continuous cycle of projects. When this bridge is finished, there's another job and another until they're too old or too injured. I watched one of the older guys, Frank, lower himself down from scaffolding. His knees are shot. He grimaces with every step, but he's back at it the next day. No choice. This job is what he knows. It's what pays his mortgage. I've stopped feeling angry. That's the weird part. I came into this with so much anger about structural inequality, and the anger has been ground away by exhaustion. I don't have energy for anger. I barely have energy to shower before bed. My thoughts have become simple. Get through the day, don't get hurt, make it to the weekend. The complex political frameworks I used to apply to everything, they seem distant now, abstract. This work is concrete in every sense, physical reality that doesn't care about theory. Thursday of the final week, we're finishing detail work on the bridge expansion joint. Precise measurements, careful installation. Its technical work requires skill and knowledge. Tommy's explaining the thermal expansion properties of the materials, how the joint has to accommodate movement from temperature changes. He didn't go to college, but he knows engineering principles. Learned them through apprenticeship and experience. The intelligence required for this work was invisible to me before. I thought it was just unskilled labor. What a stupid phrase. Every task requires skill, body knowledge that takes years to develop. Understanding materials and physics and problem solving, all while being exhausted and uncomfortable and at risk of injury. Friday, last day, my body knows it. I'm running on fumes and the promise of rest. We're doing final cleanup, removing equipment, organizing materials, site restoration. Still hard work, but less intense than bridge repair itself. Ray comes over while I'm coiling up extension cords. So what do you think? His tone is neutral, but I know what he's really asking. I sit down on a concrete barrier. My legs are shaking. I don't want to say it. Part of me is still resisting. The part that spent years building a framework, a way of understanding the world. But the framework is shattered. You can't theory your way out of physical reality. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. My voice comes out rough. Ray nods slowly, and I did it knowing I could quit anytime, knowing it's temporary. He doesn't say anything. Doesn't need to. You all do this every day for years, decades. He's still quiet, just waiting. I was wrong. The words feel like something breaking. I was wrong about how hard this is. I thought it was gatekeeping. I thought the wages were inflated because of gender discrimination and hiring. I thought it was the patriarchy protecting men's economic interests. Have to stop and breathe. My throat is tight. But it's brutal. It destroys your body. It's dangerous. It's isolating. Nobody sees it or appreciates it. They just expect bridges and roads and buildings to exist. Ray sits down next to me. A lot of people think that way, that it's easy money for simple work. The money isn't even that good, not for what it costs. He gives a tired laugh. No, it's not. And nobody cares. I mean, society doesn't care. We just expect men to do this, to break their bodies doing it. And then we criticize them for not being more emotionally available or whatever. I'm rambling now. Month of exhaustion pouring out. How do you do it? How do you come back every day? Ray's quiet for a moment. It's the job needs doing. Pays the bills. You find meaning where you can. We sit there while the rest of the crew finishes cleanup. I'm thinking about all the times I've dismissed this kind of work. All the meetings where I've argued that these men are overpaid, that their labor is overvalued by a sexist economy. The shame sits in my chest like a weight, heavier than any concrete I've lifted. End of day comes. The crew is packing up. A few of them nod at me. You made it. Lasted longer than the last. Guy Ray tried to prove a point too. There was someone before me. Of course there was. Ray's probably had this argument 100 times. And he's patient enough to just let people see for themselves. Drive home and the city looks different. Every building, every road, every bridge, someone broke their body making it. Men whose society doesn't think much about. Who get paid okay but not great. Who go home exhausted every night. Whose knees and backs and shoulders give out before they're old. Invisible infrastructure. Invisible men. Doing necessary work. Get home and just sit in my car for a while. My roommate isn't home yet. I'm grateful. Don't want to talk. Eventually go inside and stand in the shower until the hot water runs out. Look at my body in the mirror. The bruises and cuts and calluses. Temporary damage. In a month, it'll mostly heal. The men I worked with have permanent damage. Decades of accumulated breakdown, and they just keep going. That night, I opened my laptop for the first time in a month. Have dozens of emails, meeting notes, event invitations, calls to action. One is about a protest against infrastructure spending, arguing the money should go to social services instead. I stare at it, can't even formulate my thoughts. The infrastructure is necessary. The social services are necessary, but the infrastructure doesn't build itself. And the men who build it aren't the enemy. Try to write something, an email, a reflection, anything. The words won't come. How do I explain this to people who haven't felt it? The bone-deep exhaustion, the daily grind of physical destruction, the loneliness of being in pain and just having to push through, the complete lack of emotional support or acknowledgement. You just do the work every day until you can't anymore. Lie in bed. My body is already starting to feel lighter, healing now that the damage has stopped. I'll recover. I get to recover. The men are back at it Monday and the Monday after that for years, for their whole working lives. Finally let myself think the full thought I've been avoiding. Men's jobs are harder than I ever acknowledged. Not harder in some abstract way I can theorize around. Harder in physical, measurable, undeniable reality. The economy doesn't overvalue this labor. If anything, it undervalues it because the true cost is paid in bodies, in damaged knees and backs and shoulders, in years of life lost to exhaustion, in isolation and pain that nobody sees or cares about. I was so focused on systemic inequality pointing one direction. I missed the inequality pointing the other way. The assumption that men should just endure this, that it's normal and expected, that their suffering doesn't count. I don't know what to do with this knowledge. It doesn't fit into my frameworks, can't be easily integrated into my activism. It just sits there heavy and uncomfortable. True, close my eyes. My last thought before sleep is of Tommy. 25 years old, probably has 40 more years of this ahead of him. His body will be destroyed by 65 if he makes it that far, and nobody will think much about it, just the way things are. Men's work? Hard work, work that someone has to do. I was wrong about so much. And all it took was 1 month. 1 month of living a reality I'd spent years dismissing. The man at the city council meeting outsmarted me, didn't argue or debate, just let me experience it. Let reality make his argument for him. And reality was irrefutable. I said men have it easy. I was wrong. I said their jobs are overvalued. I was wrong. I said the system props up masculine labor unfairly. I was wrong. The wrongness sits in my chest. Can't argue with it. Can't theory it away. Just have to sit with it and figure out what comes next. But that's tomorrow's problem. Tonight, I just hurt and sleep and know that I'll heal while they go back to work. If this confession kept you hooked, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. We share powerful true stories every day that explore the complex realities of life.